We will start. And to begin with, welcome Pritesh. And as I have already told you, thanks a lot for doing this on a Saturday night, that too on a short notice. It means a lot. The application has just started, and you are right here to support all of us. Your ex-counterpart, Mr. Amit, had been a huge help to this community. He has been supporting us with every information since 3 years, since class of 2023, in fact. And not only in the forms of sessions like these, but also for any information near when the results are nearing and there is chaos and there's a lot of uncertainty, then he had always been extremely supportive. It's never happened that, I messaged him and he did not get back to me within 1 or 2 hours. So always has huge respects for him. And I'm pretty sure we will have similar kind of relationship, because I've already heard a lot about you, about other people, from people who had been approaching you for, especially the people for the feedback. And they all mentioned that you had given a very elaborative feedback, and things are all positive. And I think you have already settled down. So a warm welcome to this community. Just to introduce, this community is called Faith Career. I started during COVID, when things where everyone had a lot of time and everyone was thinking what to do. So that's when this community started. As I already mentioned, in the current batch class of 2027, we have 68 people who work directly with me, and more than 200 people who are a part of this community. We are the largest community over WhatsApp as well as Reddit, as we talk. And That's it. I Just to introduce myself, my name is Kumanishal. I'm a PGP alum from class of 2018. And over to you. Please introduce yourself to everyone. Some of you might be hearing you for the first time, so for their sake.
I generally like to keep my introduction short. That I'm a part of ISB as much as all of you are. The only thing is I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. Okay. That I look at the applications and you guys send me the applications.
Yeah.
Yes, at the end of the day, I think we all share a common goal of being proud of, maybe eventually some of us would join ISB, some of us may probably join after a year or a two, as the story goes on. And here I am, as much as I can help to demystify the so-called
Yeah.
application process. I'm fully available.
So, Amit, I have a list of more than 150 questions now, which of course I have bucketed into different brackets, and I have removed a lot of irrelevant ones. And I have tried to include only those questions which would be relevant for all the people who are attending. And I'm pretty sure we will go back with almost all the doubts cleared today. So, Amit, sorry, Pritesh, I have a habit. I have talked to Amit so much in last 3 years. Okay. One of the most common questions which people are asking, and which actually I heard for the first time, is about sectional score in GMAT or GRE. So till last year, we were very clear that the sectional scores do not matter. Only the final score in GMAT or GRE is taken into account. So what do you have to say about it? Has it changed this year?
Not completely, but
Hmm.
so ISB does not have any sectional score for verbal or quants or anything. However, we do look at your quant section
Hmm.
or various sections for us to understand whether you'll be able to cope up in the classroom. So somebody coming in with a very low quants, um, though it might not be a direct reject as such, but at the same time, we would like to concentrate on that part because ultimately student has to cope up in the classroom. And Anshul, I'm sure you would understand that quants plays a huge role.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Being a doctor who went to ISB, I had a difficult time in the beginning. I'd be being very honest.
So we do look at it. So very bad score would of course would you will be it will be difficult for you to get really comprehend, but at the same time there's no sectional cutoff. So whenever I have been counseling students, I have been telling them that you also need to check your quants, because this, when I'm reviewing your application, this gives me an idea how fit would you be in the classroom. And we all know, ISB does not look only at the GMAT part, they look at every aspect of your application. So while we look at the GMAT score plus, I would keep a keen eye on what would have been the other sectional cutoffs also.
Okay. Thanks, Mitesh. So you say very, very low. Do you have some number in mind that below this percentile in quant, you would really not like to see that kind of percentile?
Again, very difficult to answer that, because when you're reviewing a profile, and every profile is different. So I'm an engineering background and I aced my academics, but at the same time, I did not do well in my, I would say, GMAT or a GRE, and my quants were low. I would still consider that student to go further in the process. So it's a combination of a lot of things. So if I it's the same thing. Like ISB has a range of 575 to 795 GMAT, right? And 575 GMAT guy, probably in quotes, may have a very low percentile in quants, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe 40 percentile, maybe 45 percentile, but he's still sitting in the classroom. So again, it's your overall profile. We do not have any cutoffs for any sectional cutoffs for GMAT or GRE.
So someone had asked a very interesting question. If someone has a 695 with 70 percentile quant, but 90 in other sections, versus a 685 with all sections above 80 percentile, which one he or she should apply with? I
I
know it's
would rather say 695.
the higher one.
The
And
higher
you would
one.
not penalize a 70 percentile in quant.
Oh, no, no, no. Because the reason is 70 percentile is still good, right? At the end of the day. So, as I rightly mentioned, I'm not looking at that, 70 or 60 or 50 or 40. I'm looking at where your fitment to the classroom at the end of the day. And higher the score, of course, you get a better marks, overall marks, right? At the end of the day.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
yes, I would rather suggest to go for a 695.
Okay. Uh, One more question, and that is this is the last question related to GMAT or GRE. GRE AWA is not considered. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, you are right, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So that demystifies GMAT and GRE. I hope no one will ask me this question again. Okay. Now, Pritesh, please tell me, once the application is submitted, what exactly happens? Many people have claimed that it is a black box. ISB has kept it like a black box, even though that's not true. Adcom has always been very upfront about it. At least when I have asked in the session, they have always been very upfront and they had described it again. But still, there is this general belief that ISB keeps everything under the curtain, which is not really appreciated by the community of applicants. So I would want you to tell everyone what happens to the application once it's submitted. Who are the people who read the application?
So there is a complete team.
Hmm.
So let's say, let's take an example of Mr. X just submitted the application, and application would go through a thorough review.
Hmm.
When we talk about thorough review, but generally we look at six parts, if not more,
Hmm.
but at least six parts in an application, which starts from your academics,
Hmm.
uh, moving to GMAT, GRE score,
Hmm.
uh, quantity and the quality of work experience.
Yes.
So very important to know about quality, because that's something ISB would have its own benchmarks, because everybody would feel that, oh, I had a good quality, but we have our own benchmarks for that. Uh, we would also look at your essay section.
Hmm.
We would look at your achievements, extracurriculars.
Hmm.
And there are times that we also look at a recommender, who has recommended and what has he recommended. So when I said and times, uh, I will, to demystify it, a lot of us do a mistake of submitting our application on a last day, last minute. And because of that, a frantic phone call starts going to our recommender. Sir, I have a deadline to achieve. Please help me. Poor gentleman or poor lady would start ticking mark because he is so caring about you. And in the pretext, he may say that you are a great, great individual performer, while your essay had already mentioned that you have been a great, 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 I would say, team worker. Both of you talking two different things, right?
Okay.
Uh, so ISB would look at all these aspects and try giving, or when I say try giving, based on the benchmarks which are set by ISB, some pre-interview marks for it. At the end of the day, these pre-interview marks decides whether you will be called in for an interview or not, right? And so that is what happens. Uh, a lot of times we start reviewing the applications from the day you apply, but the only time we can give out a result so that we do not change our benchmark, and we don't want to change our benchmark in between. At the close of the round, we would say that this is what we have received and this is what we are sending out.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Pritesh. That clears up a lot of things. Let's go by all the pointers you said one by one. So, first is academics. 10th is not considered, 12th and graduation is considered. I would assume, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the weightage given to 12th is a bit less than the weightage given to the graduation. Is that correct?
Correct, correct.
Okay. Now, Pritesh, the second question is that in graduation, it actually depends on what kind of university you graduated from, right? Some kind of universities are very liberal in awarding you those GPAs, whilst others are not. So, how do you account for that, if you do account for that?
We do account for it, and we already have our own matrix.
Okay.
So we do understand, and of course, this is ISB. So it's been years that we have been doing that, and we do totally understand that there are some universities. So, for example, Kolkata University, they have not been as liberal giving out marks as
Hmm.
probably was any other Mumbai University or a Delhi University, right? So we also look at the kind of institution that you have passed. So let's say you have passed from NIRF top 100, for example, or NAC A++ institution. So that is also considered. So yes, we have a matrix or a mechanism where we do, I would say, some kind of an adaptation to the liberal marking scheme versus not so liberal marking schemes. So that is already considered.
So, some college which is considered higher up in the NIRF rankings, and which other ranking you mentioned?
Maybe universities are not only NIRF, but they also have a NAC
Rank.
accreditation.
Right.
So we look at that. We also look at for international universities some various other rankings, including the QS and the FTs, goes without saying.
So if someone has graduated from these universities, will he or she get some extra weightage in the academics?
Goes without saying because it's a proven thing, right? It's difficult
Mhm.
to get into those institutions. Like it's difficult to get into ISB as per all of us. We think that it's difficult to get into ISB. But at the same time, it's being difficult, but the kind of rigor that you go through these institutions and still ace and get good scores also matters. Right. So without naming institutions, I would say yes, coming from a good institution of repute, yet may give you some goodie points.
Okay, thanks a lot. That makes a lot of things clear. Now, talking about professional qualifications like CA, CFA, FRM, do we have some weightage for people who are having these degrees in the CAT section?
Goes without saying yes.
Okay. And if the answer is yes, then do we have a list of those qualifications which award some extra qualification?
So of lately, the list has always been expanding. So unlike I would rather put it this way, any qualifications which leads to a full-time degree or a full-time certification
Hmm.
would always be given a higher weightage rather than doing a part-time degree or part-time certification, which is generally done to ensure that you do better in your workplace or in your career. So, a very, very, I would say, low example would be I did program in advanced Excel, right? Uh, and of course, a lot of you guys would write it. Please do write it because I understand that you'll be a better fit to the classroom. But would it add to your academic qualification? No. So academic qualification would be practically be meaning that it's a long-term investment in academics that you have made. So anything which you have done in your masters, maybe I would say your CA, CFA, ACCA, you have done a dual degree, for example. There are a lot of such examples that you can use.
Okay, that was really, really clear, Pritesh. Thanks a lot. So, anything else that will add some weightage to the acads? One definitely is the quality of college you graduated from. Second is these professional qualifications, which kind of award a full-time degree kind of thing, as you mentioned, and not really some small certification. Makes sense. Many people are already having a master's. You'll be surprised to know many people, not surprised, but just saying, sorry, that came out wrong, that many people do their second MBA from ISB. And many people already have some other kind of master's before they apply to ISB. Will they get some extra weightage in the acad section?
Yes, 100%. So any masters would be given some kind of a weightage. A lot of times, see, we have to also understand ISB generally would ISB's way of looking at a application is only look at your achievements. So we probably don't look at your disachievements at all. So
Yeah.
if you come and tell me that I had a very low score in my graduation, but I've done my masters and I've done wonderfully well. I've got 9 CGPA out of 10, for example, right? I would look at 9 CGPA instead of looking at your graduation scores, for example, right? Second, yes, any investment that you make in your academics, which is going to build you as a person, right? Whether it is masters, whether it is CA, whether it is ACCA, it's going to help you. One more thing which a lot of people would forget that ISB looks at is your diversity, right? So you come from probably, and these are some examples. Please do not quote me that these are the only examples, right? Because somebody would come and tell me, the Pritesh, you never mentioned the other one. So let's say you come from a law background or you come from a fashion design background. Your graduation is in that. And we also understand the marking system in these places are not as same. So, and being diverse, I would say degrees, you may also get some diversity scoring for this.
Okay. Uh, I'll come back to that later, Pritesh. So, academic, you said the diversity part will get added to the academics if someone is from a very diverse background. Okay,
The
and
degree,
this,
basically.
yes, during my time, I remember they had a list of people from diverse backgrounds for scholarships. They were eligible for merit come diversity scholarship, and I was one of the recipient, thankfully. Is that list the same today? Law,
So I would say
medicine?
it's not merit come diversity now. Now
Huh,
we only have merit scholarships at the end of the day,
huh.
right? But yes, diversity would be one of the quotient, and it's good for all of us. And diversity always adds, uh, I would say, the classroom becomes much better. The kind of discussions that you will have in the classroom would be far better. You will have a different perspective coming into play. You'll have a different learning curve coming into play. And like any other good B school across the globe, ISB also looks at a diversity crowd as much as possible. So apart from gender diversity, I would say the academic diversity also helps a lot.
Okay. So if someone is from one of those backgrounds, they might get some extra points just because they are from that background. And you will look at the UG degree. Am I correct? Not really. Let's just say an engineer is working in social impact. Will that be considered a diverse?
I would say we'll talk about that when it comes to work
Okay,
experience.
okay, okay, fine
Right.
enough. So I
Yeah, it's academics. When I'm looking at academics, it's purely academics.
purely academics by your undergraduate degree. Fine enough. GMAT. Now let's come to GMAT GRE, Pritesh. So GMAT, every 10 marks improvement in GMAT will have certain weightage given to GMAT. Am I right?
Yes and no both. So it all depends upon the quality of applications I'm receiving in that particular year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my average GMAT went up last year by 20 points, for example, right? From
No,
655 to
no,
675.
last to last year. Last to last year was 655. Last year was 675.
Yeah,
This year
so
is
that's the
also
last
675.
six. No, no, no. So last two, uh, okay. The batch which got enrolled in the year 2024,
Yeah.
that is, the application that opened, that was 655 as an
Yes.
average.
Yes.
Now, the batch which just got enrolled, right, that is the average is 675.
Yes. So class of 2024 had 655, 2025 had 675, and 2026 also has 675.
So now it all depends that whether this 10 percentile pointer does it really matter at the end of the day? Because the quality of applications improvement or a GMAT GRE score improvement,
Hmm.
by default we would change those metrics, but these metrics are decided um, so that everybody remains equal. Before any decisions are released, these metrics are decided. Uh, what happened last year was also that our highest GMAT also went up from 775 to 795,
Yeah.
right? Which made maybe the 10, that's why I said that every 10 pointers may not be a right way of
So
looking
do you
at
have
it.
like brackets between these two, these, the weightage would be similar, and then between
I
these two,
would rather look at the percentile, which is
okay.
released by GMAT,
Okay.
and we give a range to, and accordingly we give the weightage to them.
Okay. Thank you. Same for GRE. Last year, Amit said every 1 marks improvement in GRE will have some weightage, increased weightage to GRE. Is that still correct?
Yes, but I think GRE, our base has been pretty strong. That is, of lately, what I've been seeing that 319, 320 has become so common
Yeah.
at the end of the day in
Yeah.
GRE. I don't know whether the papers have become easier or our students have become more
To be
intelligent.
no, to be very frank, Pritesh, the GRE median has been going down. Class of 2023 had one of the highest median in GRE, that was 330. Since then, it is decreasing, and now it is 325. So, of course, it's a really good thing. 330 was abnormally high, according to me. So,
It also depends upon number of students using GRE to apply. I think ISB
right.
has also been seeing that number of students using GRE to apply has been consistently been increasing. So I think the initial first few years, what I understand is number of GRE takers who used to apply were low, but at the same time there were a lot of self-rejection. So that is the reason that
Yeah, yeah.
330 then would
Not
remain.
only GMAT, GRE, many people, they are like, is my profile even good? While there is someone else who is just more confident than you and more delusional in a positive way than you, and they're getting in because
Yeah,
they are confident enough to apply with whatever they have in terms of GMAT, GRE or profile. That we can't do much. Every year, I try my best to tell people that it's not really all about your profile, but also how you present your profile in the application, eventually in the
precisely.
interview.
And I think a lot of these guys would have given you the feedback. That's precisely what I tell them.
Yeah.
That it's not only GMAT and GRE, there are other 4 or 5 other things that you can
Right.
look at
Right.
rather than only looking at one part. Agreed.
Right. Okay, Pritesh, so thanks a lot. These two academics and GMAT GRE, you really provided a lot of curtain raisers and demystifiers, and really thankful for that. Okay, now let's come to the work experience part. Work experience quantity. Of course, nothing officially came from ISB till last year, but I saw such a strong trend which made me believe, and again you can correct me if I'm wrong, that if you have less than 3 years of work ex, you are definitely getting some penalization in terms of low work experience quantity. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. I think what has happened is, let's say I'm 2 years work experience, which is
Hmm.
just required.
Yeah.
The things that I can talk about my work experience, my achievements, that's the quality part now. Right,
No.
it's interrelated, it's an interrelated thing, that's why I mentioned it. So let's say I'm a 5-year experience vis-a-vis I'm a 2-year experience. Generally what we have seen is 5-year experience has far more things to talk about, which includes his promotion achievements, overcoming challenges, numbers, how he has been useful to the organizations, the career trajectory growth, including the CTCs that they talk about. There are a lot of things, but at the same time, if you see, and I'm sure you would have seen it already, approximately, I would say, 20-25% batch still remains less than 3 years of experience.
Yeah, 3.75 is the median, so definitely half of them are less than 3.75. But Amit, strictly talking about work experience quantity, you said quantity is a parameter.
It
So
is one of the parameters.
who is getting lesser in that? Who is getting higher than that? Can you
So there are two
please?
things we look at. Let's say you come with a work experience, right? And we have our own internal benchmarks. So let's say 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 6 year. That's number one. But
Hmm.
we don't stop it there. What have you done as far as the quality is concerned? So it's an interrelated parameter. So a student coming and telling me that I worked with Shiva and Shiva as a company, as a XYZ operator, and a student comes and tells me that I worked with okay, a good company, because again, I would not like to name names. Uh, a good company. The 2 year experience in the good company would value, I will value it more than a 5 year experience in Shiva and Shiva. So that is how it is interrelated. So quantity, yes, but we also look at the quality. Uh, what has been your career trajectories? How have you been able to talk about it? Now, I'll take liberty, Anshul, this time that in the absence of resume this year,
I am very glad you removed it. I will talk about it later.
no, so this is a good time I would like to talk about it. Uh, all of you who's keen applying, you need to think outside the box. There are so this has been a very thoughtful way why we removed the resume.
Yeah.
One is that we would like you to start thinking outside the box and add few of these aspects which you probably would have added into your resume in different sections of your application,
Yes.
right? And so ISB, whenever when I spoke to few of the students initially, everybody were acing the essays because they everybody knew how to write an essay, for
Yeah.
example. Yeah, it's part and parcel of I think every blog that I read now, right? So now we are telling you that you need to think outside the box. You need to showcase your numbers, your performance, your achievements, your career trajectory without
Yeah.
resume in three sections, which is your achievement section, which is a work experience section,
And
and
it's
your
it. Right. Anyway, at least since 2016, that's when I applied. Resume had never been a part of ISB application. I was very surprised when it came 2 years ago, and I'm glad it has gone out because, as I said, anyone can write those bullet points in the resume. But how do you actually communicate with the different parts of application is actually what matters. Okay, still sticking to work experience part, why people with higher work ex, the number is dwindling every year. It's going down. It's a clear trend. Are you penalizing people with higher work ex, very high work ex, 10 plus work ex or something like that?
maybe the application trend is such. What we have typically seen is somebody who's doing very well in their career, as per them, goes without saying.
Mhm.
They don't mind getting into our Pro and Max as a program rather than coming for a PGP as a program. So, see, ISB very smartly has also got programs starting from 0 years till 20 years now.
Yes, full portfolio they have now.
Now it's with while coming in, it's a complete portfolio.
Hmm.
And I'm already drawing a CTC of 35, 40 lakh rupees with a 10-year experience. Why would I come to PGP when I can get into Pro, right? And there are other places also. So we have some fantastic institutions in India, which probably is doing well when it comes to 5 years plus experience. So, as to everybody who's here, I would like to understand from you, if you have any, between 2 to 5 years, which institute in India, right, is the best institution? 2 to 5 years of work experience. And this is a very pertinent question I ask everybody, right? There is none. There are institutions which take SCAT, less than 2 years of experience, average experience is around 18 to 24 months. And the same institutions have 5 years cutoff for their other 1 year master's program. So 2 to 5 years has always been a sweet spot for ISB. Of course, there is a market trend which is changing where more experienced students would like to get into part times or executive education.
Okay. The quality of, like you said, there is, of course, because of NIRF rankings, there is some weightage to the quality of educational institution where you study. Does the brand name actually matters for work experience? Because I've seen many people with absolutely no brand names have got in this year. And I always say brand name does not matter, but I would want to know from you.
So, I would say brand name matters, but at the same time, you have to justify that brand also. We have been rejecting a lot of students who spoke about very highly about, they've been coming from one of the best companies, maybe Fortune hundreds of the world kind of a thing.
Hmm.
But when it comes to explaining what do you do there, they've not been able to do well in that aspect. Their career trajectory has probably stalled or probably they have not been able to talk about their contribution to the company. And we have been asking students or we have been rejecting such students. So brand name would matter, but it comes with an additional responsibility that you need to really prove yourself what you have been doing there.
Through essays and achievement section, I assume.
Now, yes, now with the absence of resume, yes, goes without saying. And do not forget even the interview. Because if you are, let's say you're coming from Microsoft or an Accenture kind of a company, you'll have an alum, most probably an alum from that company interviewing you. So you would not be able to talk about wrong things and wrong
Yeah,
experiences.
I have clearly noticed this trend since at least 2 years. You people are really trying to match the interviewers with the profiles of the interviewer with the profile of the
Yes,
candidate. Of course,
yes.
it is not possible to do it for 100% cases, because let's just say you are like a dentist like me, then it's not necessary ISB will be able to find someone very easily. But I have seen a very good matching, and kudos to your team. Uh, I remember last year someone was a healthcare consultant and he got a healthcare VC as his interviewer. So that kind of matching, it is insane, and it has just started since last 2 years, and it's really, really commendable. Now about work experience quality again, Pritesh. Uh, like there are some people who are self-employed. There are a lot of lawyers who are applying this year. They apply every year, but this year, at least from our community, there are a lot of lawyers applying. Or maybe there's a doctor who is having his own clinic. So they are totally self-employed. And then there is another example of family business. So they will not come with technically any brand name, but they do go to ISB every year. This year also they went. How does you actually evaluate such profiles about their work ex?
So I will even make it slightly more difficult. A lot of these family business guys would say that I don't have a salary slip or I don't have income to show.
Hmm.
I don't have PF that has been we have been deducting kind of a thing, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I would say ISB has always been neutral when it comes to what kind of business you come from. If you are coming with as a self-employed with an entrepreneurial mindset, I'm sure being an alum of ISB, you would know that ISB would welcome an idea of who's coming with an entrepreneurial mindset because this is one of the cognitive skills we actually look at. And we would love to have students who has an entrepreneurial mindset. Students coming from a family managed business background, again, it's a two-edged sword because a lot of them would say that for the sake of saying that I've been working for a family business, but when it comes to proving what they have been doing,
Yeah,
quality of the work experience is where they generally are not able to perform well.
yeah,
So ISB is looking at very seriously. So if it is 2 years minimum work experience plus we are looking at 2 years of quality work experience where you have tangibly done something, learned something, and you are looking at probably a learning curve building upon your work experience. And if you are game for that, probably ISB is the right place for you. If you are coming to start afresh, I don't think so ISB is the right place for you.
okay. Now, talking about work experience quality, uh, last year Amit said that the promotions will add a value, and if you have made a career pivot, a positive upwards career pivot, that will add value. Would you want to comment on that?
Yes, 100%. So, let's say, for example, in your organization, you have a promotion, which means that you are a celebrated person there,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the day, you are celebrated because of your you are celebrated because the kind of contribution you are making to an organization. And of course, ISB would also look at because it forms part of the quality, goes without saying. When it comes to pivot, and there is a question by Shivam about failed entrepreneur, for example.
Hmm.
Again, Shivam, whether it is pivoting, whether it is failed entrepreneurship, uh, we are, I'll go back to my statement, right? ISB does not look at your disachievements. We are looking at what was your learning curve, whether you failed, whether you passed, whether you pivot, or whatever you do. Because we understand that you are coming to ISB to learn and become successful. But we would like to understand that before we make you successful, what has been your experience like and how much hungry you are to learn?
Okay. So, in a nutshell, promotions will add some value to work
It will.
experience quality. People who are not getting promoted, but they have changed the jobs, will they also get some uh, pointers?
Uh, Change the job for better? Yes, they will.
But how will we know they have changed the job for better?
I would say salary, for example, one.
So,
Because
salary progression is a criteria for
yeah,
moving up in
it's
the
one of
career.
the areas. It's one of the areas, right? So, for example, nobody would put it in the CV that I was fired from the job at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say I was working with an XYZ Limited at a 10 lakh rupee salary, and after 2 months I quit the job because I didn't like it, and I joined it at a 7 lakh salary. What do you make out of it? Right? So
Yeah.
it's not change of job, it's something else. Right?
Hmm.
Of course, yet to be proven. I'm not putting up an allegation, yet to be proven. But changing job, if it is for a betterment, so probably you are getting a better responsibility, better, probably you are getting a promotion, probably you are getting I would say a larger portfolio, right? There are a lot of things.
So, the guys who are listening, it's always a good idea to write about all the different levels of job you have done. Even if you're in the same company, show that career progression in the job achievement and job responsibilities section, and also show your salary progression carefully. I think these two, salary progression carefully, if you have changed the job, I think these two will give a good indication that you have good work experience quality. Is that correct, Pradeep?
Yes, and of course, we will go down to your work experience section also to see whether every job that you changed, whether what happened. Is it only the salary, or is it that you had a additional responsibility, you had a larger portfolio? What was it?
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So I think we are very much clear with work experience quality and quantity part. Now let's come to essays. And the most burning question since last 2 years is use of AI. Do you have an AI checker in place?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And will it just rule out uh, all the essays which are having very high AI percentage or something like that?
Uh, so I would say 100% AI use goes without saying, it goes out.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, right? But if AI was used as a basis, and of course, we see, let's say up to 50% there is a use of AI because student has made use
Yeah.
of that AI, but of course, he has put his own inputs. I would rather look at those essays a lot.
Yeah. But like if you're already filtering out on the, let's just say someone
I'm
used
not
AI.
filtering. I would only give you in essay the marks that I needed to give you. I
Huh.
would rather refrain giving you the marks. Maybe the student had fantastic acats,
Yeah.
superb GMAT,
Hmm.
very good work experience, very good achievements. Without essay, also he got shortlisted for interview.
Yeah.
That is where the holistic viewpoint would come in.
Okay. So they might score low in essays, but overall they might qualify. Okay. Now, Pradesh, some people might use AI just to refine some sentences while the essays have all the factually correct information. Essays are actually answering what the prompt has asked. But because they used AI to structure a few sentences here and there, the percentage became very higher. What will you do in such a case, and how will you justify
I
this?
would say, I think the checking AI is also done by AI, and the AI
Yeah,
has started figuring it out very well.
yeah.
If it is a complete AI written essay, so
Hmm.
honestly speaking, when I read the essays now, I understand is AI written or not.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right, but uh, I would say that if it is a genuine experiences, and of course, grammatical part is only changed by AI.
Hmm.
AI also gives that part, that how genuine it is. So
Okay.
there are a lot of tools available, and when we also use some of them, Turnitin is one, and there are multiple of them
Hmm.
which gives it to us.
Okay.
So, guys, I would say AI usage of AI is not bad, but 100% usage is bad. And I'll tell you what has happened. Couple of years back, it was you were paying money to some coach to write your essays. Now you're paying money to AI to write essays.
Yeah.
So, I don't think so. Things have changed drastically. Only thing which has changed is the human touch has gone,
Hmm.
and until the human touch is missing from your essays, all the best to you.
Right. So, guys, those who are listening, please understand, fill your essays with real anecdotes, real experiences, rather than talking about fancy openings, fancy conclusions, which do not even make sense. Talk about yourself, talk about what the things that you have done and achieved, because those are real. Even though you have used AI to structure it here and there, those are real experiences, real evidences, and those are which what will eventually count. Pradesh, if
Yeah.
I've
So,
said
Anshul,
something
can I
wrong.
put it in here? A lot of guys who use AI would give a question to AI as a different essay, as a different question. And thus, the answer would also be the AI would answer for every essay differently.
Yeah.
However, please see, guys, the essays are interconnected. The way essays are asked by ISB,
Yeah.
it's your past, present, and future.
Future. Yeah.
And when I review your application, when I go through your essays, I'm not going to read one essay today and one essay tomorrow. I'm going to read it in continuation. And this gives me a fair bit of idea of how did you start, right? What is your present, and what do you aspire to be? And this gives me an idea whether you would be able to fit into the classroom or not. But as soon as you use completely AI, your essays are completely different, because section wise, you cannot give both the questions to AI together. Right. And a lot of people miss out there. There is
Yeah.
no correlationship between the essays. A lot of time, both the essays are talking two different things for the same human being. So, guys, think of it, make a compelling storyline. This will also help you in your interview.
Okay. Now, since 2024, ISP removed the post MBA goal essay. First, they removed it partially, which means they moved it to optional essay. And from 2025, they completely removed it. The At least since 2016, post MBA goal and why ISB was a sacrosanct topic as essay two. But then they
Hmm.
removed it, and now they have completely gotten rid of it. Do you have any comments on why is
So
that?
I think if you see the way the essays are now defined,
Hmm.
um, and not that it's an open thing, but you can also have a look at it.
Hmm.
Essays will talk about your past experience, which shaped your present,
Yeah.
right? And why MBA,
Why MBA?
right? That is basically your future.
Yeah.
So post MBA goal is becomes part of your, in quotes, I would say,
Hmm.
part of your future. Why
So,
MBA?
it's not necessary to talk about your post MBA goal in the essay, right?
It's not necessary, but it will be nice.
Okay. Because the only essay where you can write about your post MBA goal is essay two. Because essay three is all about how will you contribute to the cohort if you come
So
here.
it all depends how you read the topic of the essay. If I say
Hmm.
why MBA and
Hmm.
what's your post MBA goal, a lot of them would say it's the same question.
I would beg to differ here. Why
No, I
MBA?
said a lot of them. I said it's a perspective, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Hmm.
So I would put it this way that whatever you write there, post MBA goal, whether you want to put it as a part of your essay, whether you want to talk about it in the interview,
Hmm.
but somehow or somewhere, you need to make a compelling storyline
Yeah.
in your essay,
Yeah.
which is not completely disjointed.
Yeah.
Um, so you may probably would like to stop why you decided to do an MBA,
Hmm.
right? Which you would continue in your interview for post MBA, what you're planning to do, or what's your career goals or a
Right.
long term
Totally.
goals,
Totally.
right?
So
You may
that's what.
probably, yeah, you may probably would like to add a couple of lines as a conclusion in your essay. So it depends upon purely an individual perspective
Right.
and how you're defining your, I would say, storyline in your essays.
Yeah. So last year, there were two kind of people who explicitly wrote their post MBA goal in essay two. Other people did not write, and both of them eventually went to ISB. But of course, talking about it was there in the interview. They will ask about post MBA goal, and you have to clarify everything. Some people chose to write about their post MBA goal in essay two. Some people decided not to. I think it is still okay, right? Because essay two is mostly asking about intellectual experience that prompted you towards a business management education.
Agreed. So it's perfectly fine. It's an individual choice. What I'm looking at is a compelling storyline, guys.
Okay,
Right? And that has to come out.
fine enough. Essay 3 is a very important essay because it talks about how would you contribute to the peer learning. And in the past, at least around class of 21 and 22, it was also a mandatory essay as a part of essay 1. Uh, is it evaluated because you have made it optional?
So what happens is anything you write in your application, it is evaluated.
Hmm.
But when let's say you write an optional essay, right?
Hmm.
It's not that I'm going to give you extra marks because you wrote extra things, right? But a third essay may probably be able to give you uh, extra marks in the same section based on your viewpoint. So, because at the end of the day, it becomes part of your storytelling.
Okay.
So, uh, a lot of students would use that third essay to talk about more that how can they be beneficial to ISB in the classroom, right? They're trying to
Yeah,
sell
yeah,
them.
yeah,
They're trying to sell their stories.
yeah.
How presumably I'm not able to get a very good compelling storyline in your essay 1 and 2, but your essay 3 has been fantastic. I would still like to give you some marks.
Hmm.
So I would rather suggest if you have a compelling storyline that you think that it is very good in essay 1 and 2, you want to leave essay 3, it's there is no negative marking for it. But if you do essay 3, there probably might be a chance that some mistakes in essay 1 and 2 you'll be able to cover up in essay 3.
Fine enough. That is very, very clear. Thank you, Pritesh. Uh, so that clears the essays part. Now, uh, letter of recommendation. Uh, does the content matter or the designation of the recommender matters? Last year,
Content.
Amit
I
clearly
would
said only content, the designation does not matter at all.
still continues the same way. Content matters the most.
Mhm.
And this is a suggestion, guys. Have a dialogue with your recommender.
Hmm.
A lot of times, I've seen some good students also talking about their essay points with their recommender.
Hmm.
That because see, in this entire application and journey at ISB, your recommender is the only neutral party who probably you are claiming that he knows you well, professionally or academically, he knows you well, right? So have a discussion with him, right? Understand his perspective, which is very neutral, which you can also bring it up in your essays. I did mention almost at the start, in the lack of discussion with your recommender, often I've seen that your recommender talks a completely different thing than what a student is trying to claim, which I would probably not give a negative marking, but this gives me an idea that, you know what, either recommender is not being honest or a student is not being honest. right, at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Or you are using a recommender because of the designation, he doesn't know you well.
Okay. So, do you have some, again, AI-based sentiment checker that the sentiment of the letter recommender and the sentiment of the person who has written it, that is the applicant, is not matching? There's a mismatch, or do you
It's
do it
very
manually?
simple. I would say it's very simple. Let's say I'm reviewing your application,
Hmm.
honestly,
Hmm.
right? You'll be shocked to know that after essays, I will go through the recommendation form,
Hmm.
right? What has happened is because so there is an announcement which probably a lot of people have not spoken about. Till last year, recommender had to finish the recommendation in one sitting.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to do copy paste,
Yeah.
which has changed now. You can save your work and come back and continue later. You can also copy paste, which was not been done before. So what I understand when I see a recommendation form where you needed to write approximately 400 words, you see 4 words. You see the consistency and the pattern of marks 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, for example, right? You understand a lot of things, uh, which probably I'm sure any intelligent person applying to ISB would understand. There is a trend. Uh, and the experience of the team itself, who has been reviewing these applications for years now, they do understand that this is somehow doctored recommendation form,
Okay.
right? So we do understand. So not that we require AI as such,
Mm-hmm.
because unfortunately, in the absence of essays and the application details, your recommender will not be able to talk a lot through AI about a particular student at the end of the day, because and that is if he does through LinkedIn profile, for example, and I'm presuming right now the recommender is filling up the form and
Hmm.
not the student himself, because I've heard in past that a recommender will forward the email to the student and student will start filling up the form.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, guys, we do understand a lot of things. We do understand the pattern. We don't require AI for few things. Please do understand because the team itself who works on your application is very well experienced. Probably they've gone through thousands and thousands of applications, right? Uh, a lot of times you would feel that why my profile has been rejected, but there are reasons which are, I would say, non-quantifiable, and that may be the reason, which might be the reason that your application is being rejected. Where we feel that this is not the correct way of filling up the application, wrong information, or information which is poles apart or 180 degrees different from two different people.
Okay. Pradesh, thank you. That really, really clears a lot of things. Just curious, how many people read one application from the team? And does your team also has students from the current batch?
Hmm. No. So I would
Because
say
that
that
was the case since.
before that was a case before,
Hmm.
but I think last couple of years or so that has been completely stopped. However, we do take students' help to compile the scores. Right, the application review, it's a very large team
Okay.
who looks at. So that is number one. There is a second level review which has been done also.
Hmm.
Then finally, as you know, there's an admission committee, which includes a lot of alumni, which includes a lot of prof and faculty members who would also review some of the applications. Then there is a scholarship committee who will review the applications.
Hmm.
And finally, there is an interviewer who will review your application. So I would say minimum three, maximum 5 to 6 different times your application would be read. And the final one, I would say, would be again me when I'm taking a reapplicant interview discussion. I go through your application again and tell you what went wrong.
Okay. Fine enough. Let's talk about the weightages a bit. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. The weightage given to academics, that is 12th and graduation, is exactly equal to weightage given to GMAT and GRE. So if one is low, you can work on the higher one. Is that correct? To
I
get
would say yes. So, generally, ISB, this is where the black box lies. ISB generally do not give out this information of what individual weightages are, right? But however, I can only talk about is your application weightage would be more than your interview weightage.
Yeah,
So,
that is very clear to many
right.
people.
And even the interviewer, fortunately or unfortunately, specifically cannot say a reject or a select. They also give you and marks which are added to your overall score, which
Right.
decides whether you are crossing the baseline or not. In my view, uh, and this is my personal view, please do not quote it as if it is ISB,
Hmm.
because when I talk about if it is ISB and if we change this year, it may not be correct. So the
Yeah.
weightages that we give, main weightages where you can really work upon. You can't change your academics and work experience overnight,
Right.
right? So the weightage that you can really think of is your essays and GMAT GRE score, right? Which has almost, I would say, 40 to 50% of the weightage.
Okay. Fine enough. Now, uh, Pritesh, ISP always maintains a certain kind of ratio of male to female and engineers of to non-engineers. Male to female ratio during my class, that is class of 2018, was 70-30. Now it has become 50-50.
Almost,
Similarly,
yeah, 49-51 kind of a thing. Yes.
right. Similarly, the engineer non-engineer ratio during my batch was 60-40. Now, last year it was 60-40. This year it is almost close to 50-50. Right. Where more often than not, we see female non-engineers often get in with much lower scores than male engineers. So, do you think there's a bias against male engineers?
Not specifically, there is a bias against male engineers, but number of application, or let's be honest, how many female engineers would be applying to me vis-a-vis male engineers,
Female
right?
non-engineers are the one who are actually getting benefit
So I
of.
would say even the application. So let's say engineers or non-engineers, generally what we see, applications from female itself has been lower. That is why you see higher percentage of them getting an offer. It's a percentage game. So let's say ISB received 10,000 applications, right? I would giving just a hypothetical figure. I may probably get only 3,000 applications from female and 7,000 from male. Of course, again, let's say the trend has been changing over the past 5 years. You can actually see it in other aptitude test exams also, like GMAT, GRE, CAT, where a number of engineers taking these aptitude tests has been reducing over the last 5 years continuously, right? So if the number of students who are applying, female applying to me is lesser, for whatever reasons, I don't know why. Percentage wise, the offer ratios would always go higher to them, goes without saying.
But
Now
if
comes the diversity. I understood your question. I'm answering it very clearly. Uh, as a part of every, I would say, rankings, okay, diversity in the gender is given a big portion of it, right? And ISB would also like to remain one of the best, goes without saying, and that is the reason you all want to join ISB. So the 50-50, to make this ratio as high as possible, ISB has been working consciously. So there is an additional score which is given to female, not engineer, non-engineer, not that, to
okay,
female candidate. Okay, but it is very small, not to the level of that, oh, it can decide somebody's future. But there is a small level of score given to the female candidate to ensure that the diversity is maintained.
okay, so female definitely get an small weightage, whatever it is,
Yep.
but not non-engineers. But because maybe non-engineers are lesser in numbers, maybe
Agree.
that's why I see it is a bit easier to get into female
Agreed. Yeah,
non-engineers.
it's a share percentage thing.
Right, fine enough. Makes all the sense. And I'm very glad ISB, as an alum, ISB is going 12th rank is like, uh,
Yes.
I never heard before. I think the last time ISB was ranked 12th, it was for class of 2012. Uh,
Agree.
it has come back after, so I don't know, 12, 14 years. So yeah, and all the kudos to you and your team and the entire ISB team for achieving that. Okay, so does that those rankings, what is the reason for maintaining this engineer versus non-engineer ratio if it is not for rankings? Because that ratio has been maintained since at least 8 years, and it is only getting more and more biased towards non-engineers. From 60/40, it's now 50/50.
So I think the idea was always to have equal, right? And what has
Any
happened is,
reasons why they should be equal when engineers are much higher in number in application?
that is also the perception. So back into before COVID, engineers were much higher in application, but that
Okay.
ratio has also been dropping or changing, I would say. So what we have typically start seeing is a lot of graduates of lately who has been coming out from liberal education, which was totally absent in India in those days.
Right.
So, or humanities, which is really taking up now, right? So we are getting those applications coming in as much as possible. I don't think so. 10 years back, anybody really heard about liberal education, humanities, and so forth, right? And my days were even better. I would say only art, commerce, and engineering at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think uh, the overall market shift is happening. Number of engineers, as I rightly mentioned to you, even it is in the stats of CAT, GMAT, GRE, number of engineers who used to write these aptitude tests has been consistently been reducing.
You're saying less engineers are applying since till if we compare to 5 years ago?
I would say percentage wise, yes. See, overall application numbers would have gone up,
Mm-hmm.
but if it was 80% engineers applying before, I
Mm-hmm.
would say right now probably we are looking at 60-65% of engineers applying.
Okay. Uh, I think
So I'm not biased about engineers or non-engineers. With all due respect to everybody listening here,
because it's
I'm
a
biased
very
with.
strong sentiment among the applicants community, and I really
Uh,
wanted to address it.
Again, I think this is somebody would have put it in the some social media and it has caught on a
No,
fire.
no, no.
I'm
Pritesh, whatever I'm telling you, it's not on basis of someone said
No,
random
no,
thing.
I'm saying, but whatever, even I've been hearing that.
Yeah.
I'm only biased with good profile
Hmm.
who probably is scoring in one of all five areas that we spoke about very well. So if you are an engineer, which is going to affect your ACADS only, for example, do better in the other four. You have a very high chance of getting an offer, if that
Right.
is a perception.
Right. Okay. Uh, that actually was really, really helpful. Now, a little bit about scholarship. People are asking the about the criteria for merit scholarship, and I have already made it clear that you add up weightage for everything. Whoever is on the top of the list, they get merit scholarship. If
They
I'm
also
wrong,
get an interview. So every student now who qualifies or who applies for merit or need-based scholarship, they also go through an interview now.
but Pritesh, for this cycle, class of 2027, some people got direct scholarship, some
They
people
did.
were
They did. They
interviewed.
did.
Why is that? How was that distinction made?
So there are a couple of ways of looking at it. First of all, I will only talk about the merit scholarship, only the merit scholarship, because there is a merit come need-based scholarship, which ISB does not mention as such. It's a need-based scholarship.
Hmm.
uh, any student which we feel has applied for a need-based scholarship, though
Hmm.
we call it as a merit-based scholarship, compulsory goes through the interview to check whether they really need it or
Yes,
not.
I think that distinction was clear. The merit come need people were interviewed, while direct merit people were not interviewed. They
Yes,
directly got. Is that correct?
agree,
And will
agree,
you
agree.
continue it this year also?
Yes, we will continue it this year. Goes without saying.
Now, a wait list, the most commonly talked about. Just to let you know, this year, out of 68 people, 25 were re-applicants. And out of those 25, around 18, 19 were waitlisted. So they have all gotten. So always a good news for waitlisted people that they have a good chance next year. But the way waitlist moved was extremely erratic. People were put in quarter one, quartile one, quartile two, quartile three, quartile four. But when the waitlist movement started happening, many people made it from quartile four, but they didn't make it from quartile one. Why was that so? If you Maybe.
See, this is something I would have to check because I don't think so. That should be criteria because quartile one should have moved faster than quartile four, which goes without saying.
No,
It,
that was
no,
clearly
no, I
not.
said I need to check that up. Unfortunately, I have not got that checked. So I can always come back to you with an answer of that, goes without saying. However, we also saw something this year, which we have not been, it's not been so prominent before.
Hmm.
Students in round three who applied,
Yeah.
a lot of them gave a deferment request due to maybe the notice period. Maybe it was too late in the cycle. Or I think it was almost March end by the time we wrapped up R3.
Hmm.
Uh, and that is why you saw this movement happening, right? One of the reason that why we have opened our round one so early
Hmm.
is telling the student if you're really serious, apply in R1. You have good 6 months to write your application, right? Uh, if you're really serious, and after if you really get selected by October, November, you'll have another 4 months or 5 months to wrap up, give your
Yeah.
notice period, and join,
Right.
right?
It's always R3 becomes too hectic. It is
Exactly.
too
And that
difficult
is where
also.
you saw this movement happening in your waitlist. I will surely come back to you about this quartile business that ideally it should have not happened. But what happened? Let me check that up.
Okay, please, because one more thing I wanted to highlight, Pritesh, to you, because you have just joined the system. Quartile system came 2 years ago.
I'm aware.
Then last year it was not there. No one talked about quartile. Then this year it came back again. So not sure what is happening, and people really feel it's not just that you're telling that I am in the top 25% of the wait list, but I am not getting the wait list cleared, while so many people from quartile 4 are getting the wait list clear, and most of them are females. I think they females are getting some extra weightage while clearing the cutoff as well, or maybe because
I agree.
of the maintaining that ratio.
I
So,
agree. I'll come back to you on that. Let me check because there is no point me either denying or saying yes to it till I
hmm,
don't know the fact. I
okay,
will
no
come back to
problem.
you with the facts.
Yes, yes, I get it. Okay, and for how do you decide who is getting how much amount of scholarship? Percentage, how is this?
Purely scholarship committee decision.
What's
Based on if it is merit, it's purely based on the benchmarks which is already decided by scholarship committee,
hmm,
and every case is taken to the scholarship committee,
hmm.
and they finally approve that part. When it comes to need-based scholarship, it ranges from 25 percentage of tuition fees to 100% tuition waiver. This is purely defined on the income levels and the interview of the student.
Got it. Okay. Pritesh, 11 people have asked this, even though I have talked about it so many times, but because so many people have talked about it, have asked this, so it's my duty to ask you,
At least.
gap matters or not? I
No,
know
it
it
doesn't.
doesn't matter at all. In fact, one guy who got 25% merit scholarship this year, class of 27, he had 3 years of gap. ISB welcomed him with open hands with 25% merit scholarship. So I keep telling people gaps do not matter. They still ask. So I would
So
want you to tell this to
I
everyone.
will repeat what I started with. ISB has looks at your achievements rather than your disachievements, right?
Yeah.
So I would rather concentrate on your work experience than gap years, or I would rather concentrate on your education rather than a gap year. So gap year does not matter. What matters is while you were working or while you were studying, what did you do?
Okay. Guys who are here in the call, I hope please no one will should ask this question again, because this is one. I don't know where this myth has come from. Every year there are so many examples of people with many gaps for UPSC preparation or for health reasons or for whatsoever reasons, but many make it with scholarship also. Okay. R1 always has higher number of admits when you compare to R2, and R3 definitely have lower number of admits. Is any reason behind it?
So I think we, it's I would say a very scientific reason, right?
Hmm.
When you apply in R1, the
Hmm.
benchmarks are set in R1, right?
Right.
And of course, at ISB, we cannot change benchmarks in R2 and R3 again. So when you apply in round one, right, you would be competing with all the students who applied in round one. But when you apply in round two, you'll compete with the students of round one as well as round two. And same thing for R3.
Yeah.
Because benchmarks, when I talk about the scoring pattern, it's all same. We
Hmm.
cannot be unequal to any student applying, irrespective of any round.
Hmm.
So that is why ISB keeps on saying that our benchmarks would remain same, whether it is R1, R2, R3, right? Whichever round you apply, you have equal chances of getting in because benchmark don't change. But of course, competition, the number of students applying would change. And if you categorically see your round one traditionally, this year is even more, gives you far more time to make a compelling application than round two and round three.
Okay. If someone submits the application earlier because you have opened it so early for the first time, will you read it before only, or you will
So
start?
every application will be read beforehand as soon
No,
as you
beforehand, as
apply.
in after the deadline only you will read, or once they submit, you'll start evaluating.
We will start evaluating. Only thing we will give you the results because we have to wait for that round. I
Hmm.
cannot set a benchmark from day one when I
Yeah.
have not even received the application.
Right.
But there is one good part. If you apply early, you will get a preferential interview slot. This is something that I've heard a lot, the cancellation, moving of cities or moving of, I would say, online to offline and vice versa, right? Applying early gives us a better view and better planning mechanism. And this gives you a preferential interview slot.
Okay. Now coming to interview. Of course, I think it is already clear to all of the people who attended that interview is not make or break. Interview is just a component, right? Because everyone is evaluated on those 13 to 14 parameters, and on the basis of that, they get an interview score. But the interviewers also get to write a subjective comment about the candidate. How important that subjective comment is. I have seen someone with a lot of people with very strong credentials throughout, they got rejected because the subjective comment was very negative. So how do you
So
evaluate?
I would say it's not comment which was negative.
Hmm.
Uh, comment was an outcome of the bad score of the interview.
If the scores are high, but the comment might is
Not
very
possible.
polarizing that this person does not really is ready for
So
ISB.
only for interview part, if you ask me, for
Yes.
example.
Hmm.
So and I'm giving you some hypothetical figures for people to understand,
Hmm.
right? Let's say overall for you to get offer, you are being scored out of 100. 20 is reserved for interview
Hmm.
and 80 is reserved for application, right? Uh, every student who, before the interview, who scores 65, I was planning to call for an interview and they were called for an interview.
Hmm.
Uh, somebody got only 5, thus the student got a bad comment also in interview. We'll stop at 65. His score pre-interview was 65 and he
Hmm.
got only 5 marks, which means he scored at 70. I don't think so that guy would ever cross the line and get an offer because my benchmark would have been approximately, I'm presuming, let's say 85 or a 90 to give an
The
offer,
final cutoff.
right?
Yeah.
So any student who has an average application, when I say average, which is 65 to 75,
Hmm.
needs to ensure that their interview is done well because interview would make or break ultimately the crossing of that line, right?
Hmm.
And at least whenever I have reviewed, and I even now, though I joined in just recently, but I have done in last 45 days some 300 odd
Reapplicant.
applicant reviews, right? And I've read a lot of interview comments myself also,
Right.
right? What I've typically seen is the score and the comments are almost in line.
Okay.
Out of these 300, maybe one might be slightly polarizing.
Right.
And I saw the reason for that also,
Right.
honestly, and that polarization actually came in because the student was good in work experience, but he was not good in communication. So for his work experience, there was fantastic comments that, oh, he's outstanding.
Right.
But scores were lower on the communication side. So I actually saw that.
Okay. So many people have again asked this, and I have already made it clear. I'm making it clear since 3 years, but people are still asking. But I want you to answer now so that everyone believes. Reapplicant essays or application are never compared with what they did in their last application, right?
Yes,
Never.
it's never. So, and again, this time is a great opportunity for you guys. You have a longer period that you
Yes.
can plan your essays.
Yes.
Guys, you need to think outside the box.
Yeah.
By removing the resume, again, ISB has given a googly. You need to make a compelling storyline. You need to think of a lot of things again. And and trust me, guys, one advice which I've given every candidate that I've spoken to so far, don't wait till last minute to click on up.
Yes. I hope people are listening out and loud.
Right? Because last minute means there are one thing is when you're applying in last minute, which means ISB may now was probably not a priority. See, think of it the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Second, there are very high chances because you are under pressure
Yeah.
making an application, meeting the deadline.
Yeah.
Why there were 6 months available to you to
Yeah.
plan things and you did not do it.
Yeah.
So you still have a lot of time. Uh, we were surprised ourselves. ISB has opened up the application early, but the amount of applications which has started, we have not even seen when we were opening it in June.
Oh,
So
you mean the
so
logins in the
no,
portal?
not only logins. So logins are very high. I
Yeah.
would say even the application initiation. So
Oh,
somebody,
initiation. Okay.
yeah. So I can see the trajectory that you have
Yes.
given me your work experience. You've started writing your essays. You've given your GMAT, GRE score. So I can see the trajectory. So I was pleasantly surprised that I think a lot of you guys have taken this as an advice
Yeah.
to start early, right? And take your own sweet time. I'm not saying finish everything by tomorrow. Take your own sweet time, but give it your best shot.
Okay. I hope it is clear to everyone. Most of the things I already have propagated, Pritesh, but when, of course, it is coming from an official source, that is you right now, I'm sure it will bear proper weight now and people would
Hope
start
so.
their planning in the right direction. Fine enough. I guess we are done with almost everything. Am I missing out on something, Pritesh? Something would you want to share about the entire application process?
No, I think a lot of you guys have been working hard. It's an aspiration to join ISB.
Yeah,
We are also looking for good students like you. In case you want to get in touch with anybody of us,
yeah,
you can always go to our website and book a one-on-one slot.
yeah.
Me and my team is there. Yes, we may not be able to tell you what are the tricks and tips to come into the activity,
Exactly.
but we would be able to give you the genuine advice as much as we can. Uh, right? So there are students that have spoken to me and I've told them, please don't give your GMAT GRE. Yeah, this score is good enough based on your profile. There are students which I've told them, please don't reapply to ISB. Um,
Okay.
right? I know it's
That's
not going to happen. And why would I give up? I would
yeah,
not like to lie to somebody, right?
yeah,
At the end of the day,
yeah.
because ultimately this is your future, and we are in a business of having fantastic student. And remember, the institute is not made by the infrastructure and the faculty, but it's made by the outcome, which is the alumni and the
Yes.
students.
Yes.
And I would rather not be lying to anybody. So, genuinely, if we feel that maybe ISB is not right for you, and I have a better way to put it up, let me be honest and tell you that please don't apply to ISB. We are not a right institute for you, right? we may probably not be able to look at your aspiration, or we'll be able to achieve your aspiration. So don't think rejection is you are not correct. Rejection means probably the institute feels that we are not correct for you, right? There's a way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone belongs everywhere. Doesn't mean you cannot be successful. There are
Agreed.
many ways. Other schools or maybe without any MBA as well. Many people are. I know some applicants who were rejected personally. They are doing amazingly well in their career. Some went to some other schools, some without even an MBA. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's all about how fit you would be at a particular school. And okay, Ritesh,
Good guys. So please do get in touch. I'm sure Anshul is always there to guide you. He has been a good alumni for us. So he's always
thank you.
there to guide you. He has been keenly watching more than me. He's got an experience, I would put it this way, that he has been keenly watching since COVID, I would say, right? Anshul,
Yes, yes.
so,
2020 is when I
yes.
started. Yeah. And I have got immense support from your team, your previous counterpart, and everyone had been very, very supportive. They have always communicated all the timelines and everything. So I would expect the same support from you because, as I said, it's a very big community, sir, and we try our best to make it democratic, not gatekeep any information to from anyone. As you see, 198 people are still here.
Yeah.
And definitely one more thing before we, kind of
Sure.
close the call. I hope it's not very late for you. We have just
No,
run.
no, that's fine. That's
uh,
fine. Go ahead.
So the last question is about timelines. I heard that this time, if someone is not getting shortlisted for interview, he or she will be communicated beforehand itself. Not they don't need to wait till the last result day. So is that okay?
It may be. So we are working towards a mechanism that we probably, when we are announcing the results,
Hmm.
we would be announcing instead of last day keeping them on hold. If you're not getting shortlisted for interview, let's be honest and tell them in advance. So we are working on that mechanism, and most probably that would be the case.
Okay. That's it from my side and from all of us, Pritesh. Thanks
Thank
a
you very
lot for
much.
doing this. Again, if I can be very honest and very candid, this was extremely beneficial. You actually talked much in depth about a lot of the processes, and I hope after this, no one will say that this process is mythical, not mythical, but the process is kind of behind closed doors, or we do not know what ISB does, how do they evaluate and all. I hope all those, talks would end now. And yeah, we have 4 months for round one, and I'm pretty sure we will again produce a great cohort with the kind of work that you have been doing so intense and so much in depth to figure out each and every candidate who would eventually join the cohort.
So
So,
I would only say, guys, don't go by what you hear. If you have a confusion, reach out to us
yes,
and
yes.
get the right information.
Yes, please do not imagine 19-20 people talking about gaps, 19-20 people talking about reapplicants would be considered negatively or positively. And so there are so many myths going on. I hope we have debunked most of them today. And that's it. I will
Okay.
not take
Thanks
much
a lot.
more time of your Pritesh. Please enjoy whatever weekend is left.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.